Kasper Tomilewski starts on pole with Callum Foster alongside. Then we're going to have Sam Stoner and Gregor Reed on row 2, Harry Hurst-Grover and Emily Cooper on row number 3. Miles Roby will start in 7th, Jason Duckis alongside Benjamin Brock and Christian Stefanovs are on row number 5 with Ollie Naylor and Ben Horner on row 6. Then it's going to be Martin Wright and Jensen O'Neill going, Joshua Jarvis and Jake Woods with Ethan Bath and Archie Dyson on row number 9. Ellis Garrett and Archie Carter are on row number 10. Then it's going to be James Kell and Travis Dolby. Amalie Ackitts and Harrison Bishop are on row number 12 in front of Reese Owen and Melissa Adrian. Then it's Marcel Poppercull and Molly Pugh with Jacob Anslow and Harrison Purnell in front of Ewan Stevenson in 31st place. So they're going to be rolling out in a few moments. We'll see whether Honda Cadet, their final has been declared. It has, and it will be Theo Bradshaw from Max Taddy, who's been given a 1-position penalty for unfair practice. We've also got incorrect front fairings for Stapleton and Amy, Ella Dixon for gaining an unfair advantage, and George Ralston for a collision. So he's all 5 seconds there, so classified in that one. Bradshaw, Taddy, Ivanoff, White and Jensen White, your top 5. In Ayami Bambino, that one has been classified as well without a single penalty applied. A superb race as well for Albert Farrer, who took the victory from Chester Fawkes, Darren Dimitrov, James Roots and Chloe McGill, the top 5 in that one. So we've got our junior Rotaxers just into getting themselves into position. Here we go then for juniors. They're rolling out into their grid, and we've got a slow mover there, just unable to get where. Did we get a couple of carts hooked up? That looks like it could be Mr. Duckis. So I don't know whether his lad's out, so we'll find out in a few moments as the field make their way out, weaving left and right, trying to get some heat into these tyres. So the field spread still quite a lot, but Kasper Tomilewski at the front will begin to slow them down now as they head up towards that hairpin on the far side. Into the tram lines we come. Keep an eye on the lights. They stay on, and we've got contact in the middle of the pack. The 89, that's Archie Carter facing the wall. He's going to get out and push his cart back on. It's a roll around anyway, so whether he's going to be able to retake his position and get back round in enough time. Time at the stop is counting down, but we definitely had a roll round. Lights are still on the overhead gantry, so I think we'll have to press the reset button and get everybody into position once again. Archie Carter's going to get going. Will he go all the way up round the top hairpin? Yes, he does. I thought he might have taken the cut through on the old track and the shorter track on the right-hand side. So, oh, we've got a red flag. I think that's because I think the order could be very, very mixed up. And we're going to have a restart and get everybody back into order. Now, one does hope I don't have to fill for half an hour like I did at Landau. I like my own voice, but that was a bit of a mission. So we'll see what happens here then in this junior Rotax race. They're all going to get themselves up into position and head down towards the start line. They're going to get started. They're going to be stopped, I think, at the line. Whether this is a case of them now being completely out of order because of that, or whether it's because the race director's not happy with the midfield, who decided to skittle, we'll find out. But the race director has left his overhead gantry and is making his way down there in the white shirt on the left-hand side. So once we're in position, we may well get a signal that everybody is to get up and out once their engines are off and safe. So we'll sit and wait and see what happens here. There's a bit of a conflab going on down there. So it looks like our juniors are actually being rolled in fairly reasonably. I think there'll be one or two from the tail of the field just that we sent round, but it did actually look like Archie Carter was able to gain a few places already. So whilst we're at this, I'm going to steer away from the on-track action ever so slightly, and I'm not dipping into the live chat either, although actually I have seen that Dale Lewis has said good luck to Jason Duckis, Ben Horner and Emily Cooper, as has Jack Tinker, who's wished Emily Cooper good luck, and Tim Winters saying Sam Stoner for the win, and there's some love coming in for Callum Foster as well. I'm going to see what's happening at the British Grand Prix, and I'm not going to ruin it for any of you, but looks like it's been decent so far. So something to watch later on when I've got myself home after this race meeting and tucked into my tea. We'll watch some Formula One highlights by then. So final few rolling in to position now. Molly Pugh's out at the back and just deciding just to kick her cart along into position rather than anything else. Now, because this has had a red flag and it will be a complete restart, you will be allowed to reset your front fairing, which is what's happening down there at the back with Molly Pugh. So, and also with Ewan Stevenson as well. So, any drivers that have got a front fairing issue already, because we're going to a complete restart because we've not completed sufficient of the race for us to then restart it, and in which case we'd restart in a single file format behind the Battenberg if that was the case. But now this is a complete restart, so we're going 2x2 again, Noah's Ark style. So anyone that's got an issue with their front fairing will be able to reset it, as this is a complete restart. Restart 1 didn't happen. And our drivers are now being invited to leave their seats, and I imagine they will make their way to the front and will be given a verbal instruction of how they should be starting this race. Although, to be fair, there's a few on the front row that are currently in front of the race director. I don't think they know that they're needed, although, to be fair, they were fairly decent at the front, with a front row of Kasper Tomoleski and Callum Foster. Sam Stoner and Gregor Reed in the 49 were just behind. So we don't have a camera down there, unfortunately, so we can't listen in. The instructions still going on then. And now the drivers are being sent back on their way. Ewan Stevenson, he's had his helmet off, just probably keeping things nice and cool. At the back of this one, pops it back on his head, and then you can see him there skipping the yellow helmet, just popping up and down at the far end. And now he's just going to do his helmet back up and get himself set back into the seat. And ready to go. Reso in, the last of the drivers to slot themselves in. We're going to get one full rolling lap round, as we normally would for a rolling start, and then they're going to get the green flag and be sent on their way. So drivers now will just be looking up at the overhead gantry. They'll probably get a green flag here just to roll themselves round. The instruction to start the engines being given. And they will now head off on their way for one rolling up lap here at Fulbeck. And we will have another go at getting this race underway. Still 12 minutes on the clock. And the timing will get reset at the start of this, so no time delay. One person not enjoying the delays is Emma Hurst-Grover in the live chat. Her son Harry going off P5, the inside of row number 3 there with the blue helmet. Driver of the number 14 from Littleborough in Rochdale will go off P5, having qualified from pole position yesterday. Still trying to get some heat in the tyres with a capacity crowd here at Fulbeck, are getting ready to watch this junior Rotax final from the stand on the far side of the complex. Probably the best place to watch here, because even though you can't see all the way up to the far end of the track at the horizon, you do get to see probably about 90% of it. You can't see the far end mainly because there's a tyre wall in the way. You can just see the helmets popping round, so you don't get to see it all, but that's probably the best place to watch the action here at Fulbeck. Still people on the start line. You'll see in a moment to the left-hand side, that's packed as well as they head up towards and into the tram lines. Tomilewski's keeping it nice and slow as the pole sitter lights are out and we're away and racing. As Kasper Tomilewski then sweeps to the outside. We've got Ben Horner on the grass on the outside of the track as the field sweep their way through. Tomilewski leading the way. Callum Foster in second place. Looks like then Stoner's dropped down into third place. He got balked a little bit. Gregor Reid is through up into third place. He was on the outside of the second row in P4. He's made up a place. Harry Hurst-Grover just behind then in P5. Looks like it's a good start. We've got a yellow flag out at the first chicane, so we are dealing with one issue at least. We'll see whether that's still out as the field head round the end of this opening lap. There is Marcel Poppercull in the 34, the reason for the yellow flag, and the yellow flag is still out, I believe, as they head down there. It will be, and it will be for the rest of the field as well, so they're coming through in single file. They're past the incident, and now they can overtake, as Ben Horner does on Ollie Naylor, as we've got the 25 of Miles Roby bouncing on the curbs on the outside. He feels he was squeezed wide, but didn't look to be any contact there. Looks like more he went there in evasive action, and he does indeed now drop a few places because of that. It's Tomilewski from Foster, Stoner, Hurst-Grover and Reid, the top 5. Warning for the 16 of Jason Duckis. He is in 8th place as it stands. At least he was at the end of the last lap. And he still is at the end of this lap, but he has been overtaken and done an overtake, so it keeps himself in 8th place. There he is with the white helmet, currently in front of Ollie Naylor, down the inside of the 77. And the 77's bumper looks low on the right side. Wasn't 77, can't be 77, we don't have a 77. I need to keep an eye out on which kart that is, but it looks like we've got potentially a rear bumper dragging. Can't quite make the number out. Down the inside, looks like that was Jensen O'Neill going, putting a move in on Joshua Jarvis for 15th place. It could well be Joshua Jarvis in the 22 rather than the 77 that looked like there was a bit of a bumper. We'll see if we can follow that little train of karts as they exit this hairpin that the field is coming up to now. Keep an eye on the one at the back here. Look like we might have an issue. It could well just be the eyes deceiving. Tomaszewski leading then from Foster and Hurst. Grover now up into third place. Sam Stoner down into P4 with Gregor Reed, Emily Cooper. Then it's Ben Horner, Jason Duckis, Ollie Naylor. It was indeed a mechanical. It's a 17, not the 77 that we didn't have. It's 17 of Christian Stefanovs, who is currently running in 13th place. The rear bumper detaching on one side, dragging on the floor. That's unsafe, and he will return to pit lane. Now, if they fix it, they can get it back out. I think they can pop that back in, but by then he's going to be the best part of a lap or two down, and it's hardly worth coming back out. So, unfortunately for Christian Stefanovs in 13th place, his race will draw to a close. Kasper Tomaszewski is off at the front, and once again looking comfortable round this Fulbeck circuit. Callum Foster, Harry Hurst Grover, Sam Stoner, Gregor Reed all battling it out inside the top five with Emily Cooper and Ben Horner. Then a gap back to Ollie Naylor, who will be hoping the second half of this race comes to him. In 6th place, makes up 2, and now he's got some space to find. There is Christian Stefanovs. He looks back, and the bumper hanging off, and Stefanovs, even through the railings, you can see the disappointment for Christian Stefanovs as his race comes to a premature end. That promotes Dyson, Jarvis and O'Neill going up a place to round out the top 15. Down the inside of Sam Stoner goes Gregor Reed. Harry Hurst Grover with both hands off the wheel there, almost as if he was using his fingers to count to 10. Behind Callum Foster, Tomaszewski opens up a gap once again with the fastest lap of the race, 57. 45.735, eclipsed almost immediately by Jake Woods with the 45.512. Their leader already going through the shot. Callum Foster and Harry Hurst Grover, Gregor Reed, Sam Stoner, Ollie Naylor now trying to join on the back, and was 0.6 of a second quicker than Sam Stoner in front of him on the previous lap. Trying to close in the background though, behind Emily Cooper, who's right on the back of Ollie Naylor, is Jake Wood, and Wood is flying. Fastest lap on the previous lap. Not quite as quick this time. Emily Cooper with a personal best. She was 0.4 quicker than Naylor, who was equidistant this time to Sam Stoner. Still only now at half race distance for the runners in this junior Rotax final. Ben Horner, seeing the micros getting rolled into position. They're getting themselves ready for their final, which will follow Coma C50 Bambino. Over the start-finish, Tomaszewski's gap opened up even further this time, another 1/10 of a second. Callum Foster, who's looked comfortable in third place at the moment, although Hurst Grover doesn't seem to be doing too much in the way of attacking so far. This one seems to be quite settled at the moment. At the moment being the important caveat, because you just know that something's coming in junior Rotax. Might not be for the win. But further down, Ben Horner setting the fastest lap of the race. We'll figure out whereabouts he is. He was running up inside the top 10 and he's currently lost sight of Ben Horner. There might be a transponder issue. He's down in 27th place at the moment, Ben Horner. It is not where he started this race, so it looks like he's had a problem at some point, but now setting fastest laps. Whilst he's got clear track in front of him, trying to close in on Ewan Stevenson in front of him. Just trying to get somewhere back near the top 20 for Ben Horner there in 27th place. Tomilewski continuing to lead then, the gap almost 4 seconds now from Callum Foster, Harry Hurst-Grover, Gregor Reed. Tomilewski with the fastest lap of the race. Sam Stoner in 5th place, then it's Ollie Naylor, Emily Cooper and the 40 of Jake Woods, Miles Roby and Martin Wright rounding out your top 10. Leader already down the road there, taking the left into the complex. Hurst-Grover and Callum Foster now. We'll be hoping that they've managed to open up just enough as to not back themselves into a battle should they decide to squabble in the final couple of laps here. Ollie Naylor hasn't been able to break free. He had some great pace in the early phase of this race to come through, and now Emily Cooper defending off Jake Woods, and Woods looking very, very racy in the number 40 machine. On the back of Emily Cooper, bouncing up and over the curbs. Cooper in the middle of a Naylor-Woods sandwich. Behind them, though, Miles Roby looking like he could be closing in. Once again, then we've got Martin Wright rounding out the top 10. 2.5 minutes to go in junior Rotax, and Callum Foster has opened a bit of a gap to Harry Hurst-Grover, and Hurst-Grover at the end of the heat 3, he started going backwards almost like the tyres had gone, certainly in terms of pressure, like he'd upped them a little bit too much and they'd gone past their optimum window. And on the last lap he wasn't too far off the back, he was only 2/10 off the back of Callum Foster. Maybe it's more of a case that Gregor Reed and Sam Stoner have just upped it. Down the inside of Ollie Naylor goes Emily Cooper. Moves her up into 6th place. Naylor then down to 7th. Now it's him that's coming under pressure from Jake Wood. So Ollie Naylor, who was hoping to be right at the front here this weekend, the dream of that somewhat dashed on Saturday afternoon with a removal from the standings for a failure of technical compliance. Gregor Reed with the fastest lap. Gregor Reed with an overtake for 3rd place on Harry Hurst-Grover. Down the inside into the turn 1 hairpin. Hurst-Grover tries to get back down the inside, mounts the curb. Has he lived to fight another corner? He has, but it's cost both him and Gregor Reed time, and Sam Stoner is up into 3rd place. Down the inside again comes Harry Hurst-Grover. Now we've got a right ball. Hurst-Grover's arms off the wheel, but he was the one on the inside. The door was always going to close. Still remonstrating, and in doing so has allowed Emily Cooper to get back through down the inside. Cooper taking advantage of Harry Hurst-Grover's poor state, and he's going to lose a few more as well. Cooper with a great overtake. Hurst-Grover remonstrating, not quite sure who with, because there's only our cameraman down there and he only cares about catching the action. Tomilewski, 4.3 seconds to the good at the front. Has absolutely no idea what's going on behind him in junior Rotax here. But Harry Hurst-Grover's now down behind Miles Roby. Miles Roby hands it back over, so that's going to allow Martin Wright to come through. Roby down into 10th, Wright up into 9th place. Hurst-Grover in P8. 29 seconds to go, the field through, 2 laps to go in junior Rotax here. Hurst-Grover now under pressure from Martin Wright and Miles Roby. Doesn't look like he's got the pace anymore in this one. The fight gone, unfortunately, from Harry Hurst-Grover. Pace was superb at the start for this one. Looked like he was on for a podium, sticking with Callum Foster, but then with 4 minutes or so to go, it just started to fall backwards into the clutches of Sam Stoner and Gregor Reed. They're now 3rd and 4th respectively. Gregor Reed still with the fastest lap on lap 13. Currently about on lap number 16 at the moment. Last lap board awaits Kasper Tomilewski at the front. From Callum Foster and Sam Stoner, Gregor Reed and Emily Cooper. Then it's going to be Jake Wood and Ollie Naylor, Harry Hurst-Grover, Martin Wood and Miles Roby. And Stoner's going to have to defend off this one. The top two are comfortable at the front. Tomilewski and Callum Foster. And Foster in second place. We'll come to him at the moment. Won the driver of the day at Landau. Was very, very unlucky not to be on the podium. There's a bit of a bump and run down there with Reed and Stoner for 3rd place. Kasper Tomilewski, though, what a weekend for the 20 in the KMS colours. Takes victory from Callum Foster. Then it's going to be Sam Stoner from Gregor Reed and Emily Cooper in 5th place in front of Jake Woods and Ollie Naylor, Harry Hurst-Grover, Martin Wright and Miles Roby round out the top 10 in front of Jason Duckis. And it's going to be Joshua Jarvis and Archie Dyson. The battle going on in the background sees James Kell get past Ethan Bath at the final phase of the race. He's in 14th place with Bath in 15th. Then it's Owen, Adrian, Anslow, Ackett and Dolby rounding out the top 20. In front of Purnell, Brock, O'Neill going, Carter and Bishop with Ewan Stevenson in 26th. Then we've got Ellis Garrett and then retirees at the end with Ben Horner, Molly Pugh, Christian Stefanovs and Marcel Popical. And there is the 89 of Archie Carter, still classified in 25th place, but it's going to take a bit getting that cart out of there. Getting some help from the marshal. They're going to cart's being pushed to safety, so he's not going to drive that one home. He's going to have it sent round. Just having a quick look at any front fairing penalties. Gregor Reed is safe. Emily Cooper is good as well. The way she was there, it looked like she closed her eyes so that we could just about see them through. It looks like Cooper and Ollie Naylor picks one up. For the front fairing, you can see it drop down there at the front, so that one's pushed in. And the 85 of Ollie Naylor is a front fairing penalty. Harry Hurst-Grover still not at all happy down there. The checkered flag out 2 minutes ago, and he is still very, very upset. Not sure if it was with Naylor or with somebody else, but his arms were waving for the driver of the 14.